Keepers though.
What y'all
Nah, they
saying
got core
relevant though? I
fans.
don't feel like he's relevant. I just feel like
No, no,
he got
none
a
of them are
fan.
relevant.
Man,
I don't feel
Coogee
like
Rap,
Nas is
Outkast,
relevant,
bro.
bro.
Wait,
I feel like
Outkast.
hold
Nas
on,
is
hold
Coogee
on,
Rap
hold
You
and
relevant.
on.
got
Kane dropped the
Outkast.
project and that shit was
Hold
ass.
on.
Wait,
Who
what did
said none of
what
them
did
are
he
One
relevant?
mic,
say?
one mic,
Who
What
one
said
mic,
Nas not
please. One
relevant?
mic,
21.
please.
Bro,
No,
That's
no,
bro,
not
we
what he
didn't say
no,
One
that.
said.
mic,
That's not
one
what
No,
he
mic.
no,
said.
no, one mic.
no. He's not relevant. He just has a
Yeah, I'll be right
loyal
back,
ass
yo.
fan base.
Thank
He
you.
just has a loyal fan base and he still make good ass music. But
They don't have
like
a core fan base,
relevant,
bro.
what?
So you heard 21 Savage that was on Clubhouse calling out. Well, I wouldn't even say he called him out. I get what he's saying, but he ain't the most articulate person in the world. So he don't, the way he worded it. When you say the word irrelevant, people gonna automatically say, "Oh, that's disrespectful." There's nothing really uh respectful about that word. And I didn't even know people would still be on Clubhouse like this. Like Clubhouse was so ghetto. I've been on like 4 or 5 of those. Everybody talking all over each other. Somebody screaming, "One mic, one mic!" Like, man, it's Clubhouse ghetto, man. Y'all can have that shit. But um, Drake and 21 put out an album like what 9 days ago, 10 days ago. Right, first of all, 21 Savage, he's feeling himself. And I give him credit. I even was impressed with the album. It had low expectations. Drake been missing lately from the free throw line. A lot of people wasn't really, as far as, let's be honest, when it come to Drake collabs, Drake, I would rather hear Drake and Future versus Drake and 21 Savage. But it delivered. Despite his efforts, 21 Savage, he did his part. Even though it felt like it was more Drake featuring him, but whatever, it worked. So he's feeling himself because they got their numbers and they're dominating, I guess, the streaming charts and stuff like and whatnot. In today's standards, 500,000, that's pretty good for today's standards. Hell, that was good back in the day if we keep it in a buck, but Nielsen SoundScan. So he's like, yo, Nas, and this is what he's trying to say. He's basically trying to say, yo, you 50 years old, and Nas is, and you got a cult fan base. He does have a cult fan base. There is some diehard Nas fans. Like I said, that's what happens when you've been out for 30 years and you've built that core, that cult following. So yeah, he's right. He does have everybody has that core following, but Nas has been around for a lifetime for some people. So he's right about that. But what he's trying to say is when he says irrelevant, I guess he's getting at the whole fact that he's 50 years old. He doesn't make music for people that's 25 anymore because he's not 25 anymore, obviously. And he's not out here making club records and trap songs and drill songs. And that's not him. And why should he? Why should he not, why shouldn't his music reflect his modern reality? He's 50 years old. He probably got a grandkid for all I know. You know what I'm saying? Just like, and I used to be the one too, saying, man, I'm tired of these old rappers still hanging around trying to. But in Nas' case, I give him that because look, it's hard. Like the first sign of depression is lack of motivation. If you still motivated at 50 years old to do whatever it is you do, I tip my hat to you. That's great. And he just happens to still be really good at this. And I think, as I'm listening to his album and I'm like on track 5, yo, that shit is fire. The Thun track number 3, like this, I think these young producers have rejuvenated Nas, and he's re-inspired. He never really stopped rapping. He still put out albums. You can look at his discovery. He never really had a pattern of, lapse of like 5 and 6 years without an album. But I just think he's rejuvenated and motivated because of the new producers he's working with. And sometimes that's what it be. You got to switch up the guys you're working with. He done did beats with everybody else from the 90s, that era, early 2000s era. He done worked with everybody. Pharrell, this one, Kanye, you name it. Working with Hit Boy and some of these other guys, I think has re-inspired Nas, and he's killing it right now. Now, when you say he's irrelevant, it's like, bro, Nas, you could say that about some of these cats if you want to, but Nas just won a Grammy like a year ago. You know what I mean? So how irrelevant is he? You know what I mean? And he's still doing his thing. He got all kind of accolades out here. Like, this is just 21 Savage feeling himself. Him and Drake. Drake is out here posting pics and bonnets and all that. They just, right now, they on the road. They got the whole stuff with Meg the Stallion, a.k.a. Megatron. People fed up about that. So they just be on Clubhouse just talking. But they know these clips go viral. They know what they doing. You know what I mean? And like I say, Nas put together a really good album so far. I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't heard the whole thing, but from what I'm hearing, I'm like, yo, this is fire. He ain't missed the first few tracks. I at least say that. I haven't heard the whole thing, but yo, but I know people gonna look at it just based off legacy. You gonna see the headline and be like, "What, man? 21 Savage ain't even in his league," and he's not. He's not, and that's the disrespectful part. Now, this is where the disrespect comes in. As far as is LL gonna have to come out and check him like he did Academics, like. We're like you don't use that word irrelevant. You don't see this in other genres of music where like let's say Beyonce was to say Diana Ross is irrelevant or Patti LaBelle is irrelevant. Like you would never see that. But in rap, you know what I mean? That's just the way people that's how these niggas move. And a lot of these young niggas don't respect the old heads the OGs, whatever you want to call it. And that's how they moving. That's how they looking at them. But I beg to differ. I think Nas is still relevant despite being 50 years old. It's not too many of his era that's still relevant for music. You know, some of them have moved on to other things. Nori seems like he's 50 years old, but he's not. He's like 40. He just young as hell. He just been around forever. But you can still find ways to still be relevant out here and do your thing. But I mean, 21 Savage, up until this album with Drake, I mean, how relevant was he? Like, I've never been a fan of a son like that. Like I say, that album was good despite his efforts. He didn't fuck it up. I would always prefer Drake and Future, that collab, over Drake and 21 Savage. With that being said, album was good. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about 21 Savage. Is he stepping in, he need to stay in a child's place? Is he, out of his league? Or does he have a point? And like I say, he made some points, but when you say that word irrelevant, that's the problem right there. Like you being ultra disrespectful. Now they got to put you in timeout, sit you in the corner or something like that.